and everything behind me.
I'm not even going to show you my background. It's on blur for a reason, but it's gray out there. So, um,
Excellent. So
That
guys,
was fantastic.
we just got live on social media. We're doing the typical British thing about comparing weather. Let's do that. So I'm in Bury St Edmunds. I've just walked the Beanstalk office dogs, and I got drenched. Kegan, where are you, please?
I'm down in Surrey at the moment, so but still under that big grey cloud that continually hangs over England. But yeah, we're all good.
Excellent. And our movie star, Clarence, where are you today, please?
I am in Spain, in Huelva. I'm on my way to Sevilla.
Excellent. And Clarence, everyone, is on his own personal train, aren't you, Clarence?
It is not a personal train. I'm on a public train.
We nearly had to do that. And Graham, where are you today? You look south of Bognor Regis. Where are you, Graham?
I am in Zimbabwe. I'm about 2 hours directly north of Harare, where I'm sitting on the farm today.
Excellent.
Beautiful sunshine outside.
Right, this is the bit where we cut you off. we're very jealous of you. Right, guys, we're all live on all the social media. My banker lights have come live. We're gonna have a really eclectic, let's go for that word, eclectic broadcast today with some key individuals from Zimbabwe, horticulture and agriculture. And the reason for this, go on, Kegan, why are we doing this? Go on, Kegan.
Yeah, basically the reason for this is that I believe that Zim has exponential potential in the horticultural scene and in produce and exporting that. And I feel like it just needs some exposure into the UK and European markets. And I feel as if people are generally not great at marketing. I mean, farmers have a million jobs. Farmers are accountants and they're bookkeepers and their lawyers and their farmers and their mechanics and everything else. So time for marketing doesn't usually make that hit list. So I just think that everybody could use a bit of positive marketing from that point of view. And I think there's real potential in the Zim markets. And that's something that I'm keen to explore and learn a bit more about. And I think that that's something that retailers over this side will definitely be interested in.
Excellent. Well done. And everyone, just to tell you how this all came about, I was very lucky to be involved with the MDS, Management Development Services conference late last year. And Kegan was there as part of the MDS cohort, winning yet another award. And I interviewed Kegan, and I thought there's something really interesting about this young man. I love Zim. In my travels through Africa, I've always seen Zim as the land of milk and honey, and seen some of the successes it had in previous years, and picking up that it's there. The bounty is there to be had again for everyone in Zim, and those that will benefit from the agriculture and horticultural products from Zim. Kegan and I are really keen to promote it, and we're planning a trip out to Zim in late April to film and to photograph the best of the best of Zim horticulture. We've got some really good key partners already lined up. So we've got likes of Harper Adams University behind us, MDS Management Development Services. Also, we've got the Zimbabwe Horticultural Council, Development Council. Linda and her team are behind us as well. So we're very excited about this. So as part of this, we're doing this broadcast just to get a better understanding and get a feel as to what's going on with Zim horticulture. Just going to go to Clarence first, because Clarence is on his train and we might lose him as he ducks through Spain, through all the tunnels and things. Clarence, could you just introduce yourself and tell us what you do in Zimbabwe and why you've been in Europe? Clarence, over to you.
Okay, so my name is Clarence Mwale. I'm 100% Zimbabwean. I grew up and I live and work in Zimbabwe. My primary business over a long time, 16 years, has been to help commercial farmers meet international requirements for access into export markets. So, for example, if a farmer is growing a crop for Tesco, the certain requirements like the global gap and SMETA and all the audits that they have to do. I have always been the person that helps them for a long time. And in the process, at the back of that, I realized that there was a big gap, especially when the blueberries were introduced into the market, for small-scale farmers to also access these international markets. So I formed another company called Tuminda that supports small-scale farmers to export their crops into the EU and UK. So we have a pack house in Harare. We aggregate small volumes of peas, a little bit of blueberries, and we export into the EU and UK. I'm just in Spain now after a trip to the Fruit Logistica. I've come to Spain to try and learn about the new varieties that we're bringing to Zimbabwe for blueberries, and to try and learn the model that they use, where a group of small-scale farmers come together. They employ a technical team that manages their business, and they can work for the cooperative, and they all put their crop into one big pack house, and they export as a big company collectively. So that is what I'm doing. I'm currently on a train to Sevilla. It's interesting for me, having grown up in Africa, to see this part of Europe. So yeah, that's why I'm here. Thank you.
Excellent. And Clarence, if it's okay to ask you, just conscious that we might lose you because of the tunnels, for you, what does success look like for your business and also for Zimbabwe?
Sorry, please say that again.
What does success look like for your business in fresh produce? And what does success look like for Zimbabwe in fresh produce?
Very recently, things have started to look very positive. The markets have accepted us. They accept that small-scale farmers can also export. They can also meet the requirements. So it's really looking promising for us, but we always have to be careful.
And there we go, everyone. I think we might lose. Keep going, Clarence.
I am here. I can hear parts of you. But yes, the train is moving so fast. We don't have trains that move this fast in Africa.
Well, Clarence, well done. We love having Jeopardy on these broadcasts, but I think we got the main thing. Graham, do you see that as well as to what Clarence is stating, that things are looking more positive for the future? What do you think, Graham?
Most definitely. You know, Zim has really just so much to offer. In terms of, you know, we just have a fantastic climate. You know, we can grow crops all year round. The farmers in the sort of the late 80s and 90s had invested a lot in stored water, which is obviously the key to any sort of enterprise. So there's a tremendous amount of stored water in Zimbabwe as compared to what is in South Africa. Competitively, I think we can compete with anywhere in the world, and I just believe we just have so much to offer in this space.
Yeah, Graham, well done. I always remember that from my travels in Africa. That'd be interesting to see what you think to this. The three most important things in Africa for making a success in farming horticulture is in no particular order, is soil, people, and water. So that's a really good point that you make about the water element. I interviewed Justin Chadwick from the Citrus Growers Association of Southern Africa from Berlin last week, and he was so happy that the dams are full in South Africa currently. The celebrations that were had last year, he said, have never been seen before. But then they've had some very excuse the pun, dry years. So I forgot that about the infrastructure within Zimbabwe. Graham, can you just give us a bit of a précis as to who you are, what your background is, and talk to us about your farming business, please?
Sure. So I'm born and bred a Zimbabwean. I went to school here. I actually went to university in Harper Adams, and I actually did an agriculture marketing and business degree. You know, my dad always said to me, you know, we can teach you how to farm, but we can never teach you how to market. So I was always very thankful that he pushed me into that space. I came back from the UK in 1997, and we obviously went through our turmoils, but we're still here and we're still farming. I generally believe that land is no longer an issue in Zimbabwe, and that's the reason why we felt very, very confident in making our decision and wanting to go into orchard farming, or you know, which is such a long-term investment. We very first started our orchards in 2019. So we planted 55 hectares of avocados in 2019. And where we are currently to date is we are 145 hectares of avocados planted. And then we are also 80 hectares of soft citrus, which we started in 2022. Specifically a variety called Nadorkot, which is from Morocco. It's the new seedless, sweet, easy peeler. They've become one of the biggest sellers in UK and European markets, which has just been huge for us. and it's a fantastic variety. And as I said, we are just blessed with a beautiful climate, beautiful water. We have a highly skilled and educated workforce, which is always a must. We will go hopefully from strength to strength. One of our biggest things is that we have land, we have opportunity, and there's just so much more that we can do.
Great, well done. I think you could have promoted that in any better way. Just do me one favor, just with the likes of avocados and citrus. Can you just give us an understanding as to how long it takes from planting to harvest? Because I had to do this with a supermarket buyer a few years ago. That and it wasn't his fault, but he was just under the assumption that you could plant at the top of the year and you'd have a crop by the end of the year. Graham's with me on this one. Just so what's the time span with it?
I tell you what, nobody really educated me at the time of when I first went into it. When you plant in 2019 and you only really realize we will reap our first year on avocados this year, and it's now 2024. And even then we're only going to get 150 tons off the first 55 that's ready. And on the dorcots or the soft citrus that we planted in 2020, this is our very first big harvest year. We'll probably reap about 500 tons. Sure, things are going to get exponential, and that we're at the bottom of the hockey curve, so to speak, and our volumes are going up. But it's a very tough business to establish because you are putting in money for 3 to 4 years. You've got to grow the crop, you've got to look after the crop. Yep. And on top of that, then somebody comes and tells you that you must put it in a pack shed, which also dents your wallet somewhat, and becomes really, really challenging. But it's a step that you have to take, and unfortunately, that's where we are in the process.
Yep, Graham, thank you, Josh. I'm not going to say you're late because we know you're very busy, and we know we're throwing you under the bus on this one. But just introduce yourself to a few thousand people. Josh, over to you. Oh, Josh, there's those words. Turn your microphone on, bottom left-hand corner. You're in. But
that always helps.
Go on, Josh.
Yeah, brilliant. Sorry, us farmers, we always leave our mics off, and we always find ourselves under the bus or the tractor or the hailstorm, or whatever it may be in life. But it is wonderful to be here. Thank you for having me on. I'm Josh, and we farm paprika in Zimbabwe. We grow it ourselves. We contract other farmers from around to grow. We have small scale growers. We do some organic. We do normal, conventional. We process. We've even got a bit of smoked paprika that we're working on at the moment. Okay. Smoked, yeah.
And so Josh, where's your end market?
So our end market currently is majority of it goes to Germany and the States, and a little bit goes to Spain, and yeah, that's basically it.
Okay. And I asked Clarence and Graham before you kindly hopped on as to what does success look like for their business, and what does success look like for Zimbabwe horticulture. Are you positive about the future of your own business and that of Zim Horticulture? Come on, Josh, back to us. And he's frozen on us. So Kegan, I'm just going to do a bit of a mad comparison here. There was a conference recently in the UK. I'm going to name it. It's the Norfolk Farming Conference, and it has about 300 farmers there, and they all sort of vaguely look the same, and they all do the same thing. They all grow arable cropping. And you look at the cohort of individuals that you've garnered here. Kegan, you got Josh with paprika, you got Graham with avocado and citrus, and Clarence with blueberries. Is this normal in Zimbabwe to have such a mixture of people?
Yeah, I think so, Max. And I think what's important here is that everybody's hungry to look at alternative markets. Everybody's hungry to look at alternative crops. And as Graham pointed out, we have the climate to grow it. We have the geography to grow it. So there are exponential options in Zim. We just need to sort out the marketing, and we need to sort out the route to market and access those overseas markets. So In terms of a Zimbabwean context, yes, it's normal. Everybody's dabbling and trying everything under the sun. You might not see that in other regions. Lots of regions, as you say, maybe in Spain, are specifically geared to set up one specific crop and one market. And I don't think that's the situation in Zim, just because of where we're located as well. I just think that we have got access to so many different markets, and we are just well geographically located that we can look at all the crops under the sun, and we can look at what works best in our individual context. So that's kind of the primary objective of this trip as well. Just go out there and not focus on one specific crop, but to have a look at what is available and what can grow and what we can increase as well. So definitely an exploratory trip here.
Yeah, well done, Graham. Just coming back to yourself with the marketing degree that you did at Harper. What's your take on global horticulture, fresh produce marketing, and then looking at within Zim? If I could give you the proverbial magic wand, how could we get more kids, families, consumers to consume more fresh produce, and I suppose more importantly, to consume more Zimbabwe fresh produce? Graham, what do you think?
So I think one of our biggest barriers to entry into this market is finance, and I'm sure Josh and Clarence will probably say the same thing, and it's access to long-term finance. That is a tricky thing in Zim. It's just where we are financially. It's a hard thing to get. We need to try and get as much buy-in as we can from internationals, to try and buy into us. Zim is traditionally seen as possibly not as safe a place to invest. Hence, because of that, the interest rates that we get charged are exorbitant. Really? And that's one of our biggest things that most farmers here, face. We very much want to do sort of the spoken wheel sort of thing where, we, as I said, we're surrounded by so much land and so much water, and we need to try and get the buy-in from our consumers and from lending things outside the country to get access to offshore finance. That's sort of the one of the biggest things that stop this development. You look at most of the blueberry projects and look at what I've done myself. I've had to partnership up with a company called Blue Agri, and also we've got a bit of local finance, but it's not long-term money. Zim, the most that you can get here is probably 48 month money, which is tough when you're looking at a long-term project where your repayments really are only in year 7, 8, 9, and 10. That's realistically where you're looking at breaking even. And in terms of the market, I think the beauty about where Zim is in comparison even to South Africa and to other parts of the world is that we hit a certain space. When I say that we hit a certain space, our timings are right. So for avocados, we are just before South Africa. And the biggest thing is also that we are before Peru.
Well done.
So our crop comes in March and April, so we can be hitting Europe, the back end of May, and generally the shipments from Peru come in the middle of June and July. So we're hitting a space, and the same is also for the soft citrus, where I am here, because I'm so much further north than anywhere in South Africa. I'm probably 3 to 4 weeks ahead with this very specific variety, and it's all about timing. Hey, same with the blueberries. I'm sure Clarence will say that too. Last year the blueberry guys had a corker purely because we were in and out before South America comes in, which is our biggest competition. So geographically, and from a marketing point of view, we fill a certain space which is important to the big supermarkets in the UK, because obviously they want continuity of supply. Traditionally Israel supplies in March, April, and obviously with what's going on there, everything is a window. and Zim hits a certain window globally, which is very important.
Well done. So are you in some ways calling out for investment, external investment to come into Zim? I'll give you a couple of examples. The likes of, you mentioned the likes of Peru, the fresh produce sector saved the Peruvian economy, if not the country, because of the investment that came in. I can think of some other countries and also institutions, the likes of Harvard University, it's well known, invested over 200 million in avocado in South America. And the Americans, or even the UK, the CDC, Commonwealth Development Council, are investing heavily in certain countries in Africa, but I don't think they are in Zim, because Zim is not seen to be underdeveloped. But it sounds, Graham, not trying to put words in your mouth, that we need more external investment to come into Zim to assist Zim to take itself forward.
Absolutely, you've hit the nail on the head. You know, we've created, and this is sort of our long-term aim, is where we are. You know, we've created a center, i.e., that we've put in the pack house, and the pack house is sort of the key to everything. And having the pack house here is now we're looking for outgrowers, and specifically trying to hit the small scale sector, because it hits a space for everybody. And avocados is specifically a crop that you can hit at the small scale sector. You know, much as what Josh was saying, also on you know, on the paprika.
Yeah.
You know, so we you know, that's one thing that the banks here, they will lend you money, but it's exorbitant, and we need foreign investment to come in here at interest rates, and we need guys to come along the journey with us that understand that this is a long-term investment. You know, you need money for long-term.
Yeah, well done. So just to voice a couple of frustrations from me, a few years back, I attended a big conference, agricultural farming conference, and they had the vice president of PepsiCo at the time, and one of the very eloquent guests. There was 500 people there. The Guildhall in London had Princess Anne there. It was a very posh do. And this guest delegate asked this VP of PepsiCo, when are you going to invest in banana businesses, or could be avocado business or citrus businesses? And this chap, without taking a hesitation, said, when you show me how to make money out of bananas, we'll invest in bananas. And then that gets me on my soapbox about highly processed food. You look at the whole issue that we've got globally around diabetes. So this is because so many kids and families are eating very processed food, which is not good for them. And what's the cure for that? Fresh produce, just eating more fresh produce. But then the likes of you all are on very slim margins, whilst they're highly processed foods, because they're very well invested, and they've got marketing, can attract double-digit margins. It just seems so unfair. But I just wonder, with the likes of similarity of the things picking up within the horticultural sector within Zim, whether things are going to pick up globally for fresh produce, and you might be able to earn a little bit more. Josh, can we just test your sound to see if that's working again? Go on, Josh. Talk to me.
Right.
Yeah. So, Josh, what's your take from what Graham and I have just been debating? Do you think we need to see more investment, external investment into Zim, and do you think that will also help educate the consumer as to where fresh produce is coming from, so they buy more? What do you think, Josh?
So I think, Max, there's a couple of things to consider. Graham, that was brilliant, and when it comes to fresh produce, if we look at global trends, the organic trend per se is growing exponentially year on year. Sourcing foods that are involved with social awareness causes, say in small scalers, in community developments, in rural developments, school developments, all these kind of things. It's increasing exponentially. So, the truth is, yes, a lot of the wrong industries end up getting back because there's just been this, there's been a long-term trend, of sugar consumption increasing per se. But I think there's a really, really good space in places like Zimbabwe, where we have got things like the fresh produce sector, we have got social awareness, we have got organic, we've got community development, we've got a lot to offer. I think we've got a lot to offer that other places don't. And I think in the fresh the fresh produce, although I'd say I'm more in, say, spices, but shall we say, in the health market, I think it's a beautiful thing, and I think investment in say Zim, it will yield a return, and I think it's something that it's really needed, Max. I echo what Graham was saying.
Okay, and Josh, what's really interesting with an individual like you could work anywhere. You got a face that fits New York. so the fact that you actually want to be based and invest your time, energy, and career in Zim, to me just highlights the potential. Clarence, can we just test your sound, see how you're getting on? I'm not going to leave you unscathed on this one. Look,
I'm here for now. Yeah.
Excellent. And Clarence, we do have an educated audience watching this, but someone's just said, could Clarence honk the horn of his train to show that he's on a train?
There, I am on a train.
Excellent. So well done. So Clarence, I'm going to put you down as a marketing guru and what you do within Blueberries. What's your take on it as to how we can further market your particular product, but also Zimbabwe fresh produce? What's the key for success to marketing Zimbabwe fresh produce, please?
I think that I was listening to Graham speaking earlier, and he said that we've come into the market in very privileged times, with a lot of products. Blueberries as well. We are the country that comes into production first in the whole of the Southern Hemisphere. So we're 2 months before Peru. We are 2 months after Peru, and we've now found varieties, Dutch varieties that can have 2 harvest seasons in 1 calendar year. So there's a lot of things that we have to offer. And personally, I think that the Zimbabwean been to a few. Yes, can you hear me? I am here.
Yeah, keep going.
Can you hear me? Yeah. So I was saying Zimbabwean produce have got an organic taste, a very natural taste. I have tasted ginger from China and ginger from other countries and ginger from Zimbabwe, and I can definitely tell you that ginger from Zimbabwe always tastes better. The blueberries as well. Our blueberries taste better. Our blueberries are more natural. And I was at a big pack house here in Spain, and I saw how they grade and sort their blueberries with high technology machines. And at the end of the line, I said, our Zimbabwean workers grade blueberries better than these machines. And I meant it, definitely. We are more raw. We use a lot. We still use our hands. Everything is very natural. A couple of months ago, I posted a video of a colleague of mine in the land using a hoe to till the ground. And a lot of them around the world said, wow, you still do that? And yet we still do that. So we're very natural. We don't grow genetically modified products in Zimbabwe. So I think that is a big market point. These are people that are living in Africa that earn very little money, that are trying to work hard that are working hard to try and make ends meet. So I always say, if we support small scale farmers and we send a few 100,000 kids to school through the business that we create and the connections that we create, we would have achieved more than anything money can achieve. So there's a lot of, even on the commercial farms, the commercial farmers have to pay a minimum wage, but the minimum wage is not enough. They still have to give groceries, build a school, try to do things to help the workers. So all of that amounts to how much doing business with Zimbabwe can have effect on the social side of the workers, the farmers, the small-scale farmers, the Zimbabweans themselves. So when you do that with us, when the world opens their market to us, it really goes a long way to helping us develop ourselves socially, economically, and we have a massive land. We have a very good climate. We can grow almost anything, and we listen to what the market wants. We follow the rules. We've got good quality. So yeah.
Clarence, Clarence, brilliant. Kegan, I'm learning so much from this. I forgot about that key point that Graham made about wanting external investment. So we've got to attract people into Zimbabwe to see the bounties to be had from Zimbabwe, and also the benefit on a business perspective, and also to have Clarence to state. There's a couple of bits there. The whole bit about taste. I always forget about taste. I did a dozen interviews into Fruit Logistica last week from people from Canada, America, and South Africa and the UK, and all of them were mentioning the same thing about taste. That if you can get a young kid interested in, say, tomatoes or citrus or avocados at a young age, you've got them for life. So that whole bit, Kegan, of getting that taste, this other element that Clarence just picked up about, that if we can somehow educate the consumer that if they're buying product from the likes of Zimbabwe, they're not just buying an avocado, they're doing good. Rather than buying a blinking Pop-Tart that's doing good to no one, to buy an avocado or citrus or paprika or blueberries from Zimbabwe, Kegan, it's actually going to benefit all of those people in Zimbabwe. So how do we, Kegan, how do we get that message out to the consumer or even to the retailer to start to inform people that if you buy Zimbabwe produce, it's actually doing good for the whole country? Kegan, what's the answer?
I think you hit the nail on the head there. I think just to go back one step, I think for a while, everybody was investing in these large monocultures and highly mechanized agriculture, highly inputted agriculture with lots of pesticides and such. And yes, there's a place for that. But I think everybody's waking up, especially in the first world, that it's not the only way to go. And there are significant growing regions which do it differently and which possibly do it better for their context. So definitely Zimbabwe's got some of the nicest tasting fruit, some of the nicest tasting veg as well. It's a pity we don't have somebody on here doing veg as well, but it is lovely, lovely produce, and I always enjoy eating it. And I think people are waking up to that in the markets, and I think that's not for us to tell the market what they want. I think they've realized what they want, and they just don't know how to get that. But at the same time, Zimbabwe has that, and that's where I see the potential, and that's where I got excited about this conversation when I first met you and got to chatting about this whole trip. And I think we've got a market that doesn't know where the produce is coming from or where they can find it, but at the same time, we've got people hungry to provide that produce and to provide those volumes. So context is ideal. It's just about linking those up.
Yeah, well done. I'm sure you all watched the Super Bowl over the last couple of days, and the IFPA, International Fresh Produce Association, have been rolling out their stats that it costs $7 million US to have a 30-second advert. With that $7 million, what good you could actually do by putting fresh produce on plates of school children in America. I keep on going back to this phrase, Josh, this magic dust, whether it be your product, your paprika, or any other the horticulture products that we're talking about. Have you got a view as to how we can turn on the taps, get people even more excited about Zimbabwe fresh produce and herbs and other products? Josh, what do you think? How can we get people excited about the product from Zim?
So I think honestly, Max, you and Kegan are answering that question by what you're doing. You know, you first got to hear of it, and then you've got to taste it. And what you guys are both doing, or shall we say, there's more than your team is doing. I think it's the start. It's the ball that gets the momentum going. You know, I think especially when you come and you see, you know, you won't just see an avocado, you'll see Graham's farm, you'll see small scale producers, you'll see schools, you know, you won't just see blueberries, you know, you're going to see, you know, when I worked, I went to university in the UK and I worked with Berry World for a while. And it was interesting because we traced down their best commercial farmers, blueberries, their best commercial farmers to Zimbabwe. Hands down. Wow. Their best commercial farmers are based in Zimbabwe. And I'm not sure if I'm allowed to share names or anything, so I won't. But, you know, you're not just going to see blueberries, you're going to see a world of, you know, of like a different type of like organic agriculture. You're going to see a different world of sustainable agriculture. You're going to see the way that, Clarence uses pests. And, when you come and see paprika, it's not just paprika, it's farmers that have absolutely no other income. And we give them a crop, to grow, a fantastic crop. And they grow, like Clarence said, with hose, they grow, with manure. They grow, we teach communities how to put up owl boxes, and how it's with nature. It's not just a product. It's I think what you're doing is you're getting the ball rolling. People have to see it. And then we hope that people get to taste it, because the proof is in the pudding, So I honestly think that what's happening here is exactly what we need. We need exposure. We need media. We need to see it. And then by the grace of God, we hope that people can, especially in the UK, can taste the stuff and can experience it, themselves. Yeah.
Josh, well done, because you sort of answered my point, my question. That's one of the reasons why I had this conversation with Kegan, that if we can do a little within our network, and if that then creates, I hate the blinky phrase, but an Instagrammer within the food sector who's very well connected to just see the potential and use that as a catalyst, and they to make a request of us or the Horticulture Development Council out your way to come and do you can see how, Josh, that would potentially snowball. But likewise, Graham, just coming back to yourself, if we could use this exercise of coming out to Zim and seeing the best of the best to get, I'm already thinking of funds I know that have always been hesitant about investing in Africa, but they'd only ever look at South Africa. They would never go further north. But I'd be really keen for them to get involved with this trip, and so that Graham, at the end of the day, people buy from people, don't they? And if they can meet with the likes of yourself and your farming colleagues and see the potential, Graham, it'd be quite exciting if we can get those fresh produce buyers in the UK and Europe and globally to be excited about the potential of Zim, not having seen it. But likewise, Graham, getting funds, perhaps wanted to come and do an exploratory trip just to learn more about the sector. Graham, would that excite you? Should we go for gold here? Is there anything else that we should be looking to get apart from investments and apart from supermarket buyers? What else should we be going for, Graham?
Absolutely, Max. I think one thing that Josh also hit on the head is that we all have a story to tell. We are all privately funded farmers. We're not a big corporation. So all the money that we make, we generally, through our nature in Zim, is we invest back in the farm. And what does that mean? So that means more hectares planted. So that means I employ more people. I'm able to contribute way more to the community. Clarence earlier alluded to wages. The wages that we pay in the horticultural sector are probably some of the best in Zim in agriculture. We live sustainably. We live with the environment, and like I have a school on my farm, and it's called a little school, but there's 450 kids that go to it, and there's only 16 classrooms. And this is things that we just so there's so much more. Yes, the ultimate thing is that we want to be profitable, but I think Zim farmers are unique in one sort of prospect is that what they do, money doesn't go and sit and hide in bank accounts. It gets invested back into the farms, and to develop it more, and development more means more jobs. It's only a benefit to the community in the long run. And I think for a lot of us, my dad has been here on this farm since the late 60s. So and I still farm with him every day. He's 80, and I'm very lucky I get up and see him every single morning. And he has a passion for wanting to give back to the community that he's been surrounded for so long. And as I say, and as Josh and Clarence both said, there's so much more of a story that we can sell, and we're not just selling, investing in the farm. we're saying, come and invest in us because we invest in a community.
Yeah.
And I think that's also a much bigger selling point than just saying, I've got an avocado to sell.
Yeah.
And also going back to your point about having people out, I would love to come and pick up. I've looked at this whole crowdfunding thing. I would love to get along, something along those similar sort of lines.
Yeah.
You have a group of like-minded people who all have the same sort of aspirations and dreams of where we want to get to. Yes, we all want to make money. I'm not going to hide from that fact. But there's there's just so much more of a story to tell. There's so much more that we can do from a community point of view. And ultimately everybody becomes a winner.
Yeah, Kegan, I'm loving this. There's an old mantra I was always taught in business that have fun, make money. But I think with Zimbabwe farmers, it's have fun, make money, do good. Just we've got so many examples with Josh, Clarence, and Graham here. Kegan, would you agree?
Yeah, I think so. And it's not like this call was pre-planned or anything like that. It's just that's the angle that it's taken, and I think it just reflects the situation that everybody's in Zimbabwe as well. Everybody grows up with their community and works in their community their whole lives, and there's such a social well-being aspect to the growing of produce in Zim, and that's something really beautiful. And it's something that I think hasn't had space to sell a story over the past few years, but I think that is increasing. So it's one story that I definitely think that we should promote in Zim as well, because it's there whether you tell about it or not. So we might as well be speaking.
Sorry, Kegan, and just to major on that, because otherwise I'll forget because of my short-term memory. I think what that aspect that Graham states is very, very, very. We've got to tell the story, Kegan, when we go out about, and that's going to attract people, whether it be investors or buyers. If we can just present that story of the likes of Graham, of Clarence, and Josh, they're going to be. People want to buy from people, so they're going to be attracted to them. They want to find out more, and then we get into that bit of getting them to taste Josh's paprika, Clarence's blueberries, Graham's citrus and avocado. Then we're away, aren't we? And then we can get more people to come in on the back of that. So I might be, what's that expression? Jump for the ceiling and you might touch the stars. But if we can do that with this planned trip, if we can show the best of the likes of Graham, Clarence, and Josh when we're out there by videography and photography, and use our collective networks. Oh, Kegan, we'll be going in the right place, won't we?
100%. And this is just the spearhead. Obviously, there are so many people out there and there's so many stories to tell, and we won't get around a fraction of them. Even if we visit 10, 15 suppliers, that is a small fraction of what's actually going on the ground there. But it definitely serves a platform to start those conversations and to start that momentum. And that's really exciting.
Excellent. So team, I'm just conscious of time, and I think we've reached a really nice pinnacle of this. So I just want to wrap up in a really positive manner. Everyone, just tell everyone that's dialed in here. I'm just looking at the stats. We've got people dialing in from the middle of the night in the States. A big plethora in the UK, and a big plethora in Europe, as you'd expect. What can we tell them about Zim horticulture, fresh produce agriculture, that they don't already know, that's going to excite them about following us all when we do our planned trip at the end of April? What can we tell them about Zimbabwe farming and horticulture that they didn't know already that's going to excite them? Clarence, can you go first? Let's test this out.
Okay, what can we tell? We can also, first of all, I must just also say that we're not only growing blueberries, we're also growing a lot of.
Oh, Clarence, don't go.
So when you buy Munch 2 and Sugar Snack from Lidl or from some place like that in the UK, they're probably. For us, it's more than farming. It's a way of life. It's a way of life. It's a culture. We do this to improve livelihoods. When you buy from us, when you buy from Zimbabwe, you are not only buying a product, you are changing somebody's life with the little money that you put in there. With a lot of money that you put in there, you change somebody's life every day. So please listen to us. Open your doors to us. There's a lot of things have gone wrong about Zimbabwe, but there's just only now a lot of positive things going on. A lot of production. We are raring to go. We're geared to go. So please listen to us. Thank you very much.
Oh, Clarence is amazing. Josh, you're amazing. Come on, tell us what's from your perspective. What do we not know about Zim farming and horticulture that we're going to learn from you, please?
Well, I think, Max, what we do know is that when you fill out forms and you pick your country, if you scroll right to the bottom of that list, you'll find Zimbabwe. Right at the bottom, it's the real bottom one. And, you know, I think what you'll find in Zim, or what someone could find in Zim, is what happens in that country on the bottom of our forms list, on the bottom of every list that is filled out on the internet every day. What happens on small farms, small productive farms that are 2,000 meters in altitude above ground, surrounded by, you know, like in our case, we're in a gold town, right? So we've got gold mines surrounding us, pressing in around us, like on every side. You know, what can you grow in these conditions? What can you grow in a country that, you know, there's 80%, some people say up to 80% unemployment? What can you grow in a place where a lot of people say is the most fertile soil in the world? You know, so it's an unbelievably interesting dynamic on the floor. It's beautiful, and there are so many farmers. I think that story is the real word here.
Yeah. Well done.
Please
Graham.
excuse all the farm machinery rolling past. But you know, there's an unbelievable and a beautiful story being written by a lot of different farms, and it's being expressed in produce, you know, and wonderful and awesome produce, and so many different types of produce, you know, and obviously from, you know, spices and herbs to avos and blueberries and veg and, you know, manchu peas, all of these kind of things. So, you know, there's a story, and it's an untold story. It's a story that hasn't been told before.
Let's tell that story. Graham, your take, please.
Some farmers are resilient. If nothing else, we are extremely resilient. We're blessed with a wonderful natural environment. We have skilled labor. We have the land. We have the weather. We want to develop the community, and we have just so much to offer.
Boom. Kegan, over to you. Wrap up for us.
Yeah, sure. I mean, everybody's wrapped it up there nicely. But if you haven't been sold already, just look at when we hit the market. There's always a shortcoming in that market, especially in the UK and Europe. Those 2 weeks before your Southern Hem countries really start producing. And if nothing else has sold you, yeah, fill that shelf space, fill that gap in the market. We're there, and we're willing and we're hungry to start those connections. So let's go out and do it.
Well done, everyone. So just to paraphrase, let's open the door for Zimbabwe. Let's tell that story. Let's look to shape and transform the future of Zimbabwe horticulture in a really positive manner. Thank you, one and all. So Kegan and I are off end of April. If you look out for our posts to find out more, and we're still looking for partner sponsors to get involved with and gain the halo effect of everything that we're looking to achieve. So if we all collaborate, we can all make this a great success. Graham, thank you. Clarence, thank you. Josh, thank you.
Thank you.
Kegan, thank you. And we'll see you very shortly, and look forward to seeing you all in Zim, hopefully.
We see you
Thanks
in
very
April.
much, everybody. Appreciate the time.